As we begin August, a select few parts of Saskatchewan have started harvesting crops, while others still have some time left. Our Thomas Wildman has more in this week's crop report.
It's been quite a while, but we have Matt Struthers back with us once again for a crop report. And so how has it been since the last time I've talked to you, Matt?
Well, it's certainly been exciting. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen a bit of heat and a bit of rainstorms come through, and now finally we're seeing a few producers down here in the south start harvesting. So lots is going on, and then lots more to go.
You just mentioned that producers are starting to harvest. Kind of what is it overall looking in terms of now that we're getting close to that harvesting? What's the moisture content looking like, and are producers looking for a tad bit more rain, or are we hoping that the sun can stick around and allow producers to now start harvesting?
It's a little bit of both. Some producers who are still, their crops are a bit more delayed and a little bit behind, and they're still, maybe finishing up flowering and starting to fill their pods and heads with kernels. Those producers could go for a little bit more rain just to help those crops finish up. Kind of accompanied with that heat though. If it's kind of dreary, cold, rainy days, that's not going to be any advantage. But if it's light rain here and there, and then some nice warm days, those crops will make great strides. Whereas down here in the south, where harvest has started, for some producers, rain just delays them. So they would like that rain to hold off because their crops are ready to go. There's no need for it to rain right now, and they would like to get the crop off and then let it rain all day long if it wanted to.
That producers in the south are starting to harvest. What about producers in the more central and the northern areas? Are they looking for that rain to stop in order to get in? Are crops being hard to get into right now because it's being really wet in some areas, or are we not having that wet problem that we have had in some years in the northern and central parts of Saskatchewan?
Well, harvest hasn't started anywhere except for parts of the southwest and west central regions, just due to the stage of the crop was at, and then also just the dryness. The dry periods this summer have really pushed those crops along quite fast compared to the parts of the southeast and east central, and then the northeast and northwest. And typically they don't start harvesting for at least a few weeks after the south has started. So they're looking for their crops to finish up and fill out and kind of reach their yield potential before they'd ever look into get into harvest. So many crops in the province are well behind for harvest. So they're a few weeks, I would say 10 days to 2 weeks from harvesting anywhere else in the province except for those parts of the south and west central that are dry and ready to go.
So in our previous talks, we were having some problems with some tick beetles, and some other pests were being talked about as well. There has been some hail damage in parts of Alberta. Has that been seen much in Saskatchewan, any parts of Saskatchewan, or has crop damage been kind of minimal in comparison?
Oh, no, unfortunately, grasshoppers have just continued to be quite the nuisance for many producers across the province, and kind of at a widespread across the province, across the southeast and southwest and parts of the central regions. They've been quite bad, and producers have struggled very hard at controlling them. Whereas you mentioned hail, we'd been quite lucky in most of the province to not get any hailstorms, except for this last week. We had a terrible hailstorm come in from Alberta and kind of cross through the west central, down towards Lake Diefenbaker area, and then down to the parts of the southeast and east central. And some fields were just minorly damaged. There wasn't too much damage there, but other fields were severely hailed out and completely ruined. So it's very unfortunate to see that happen, later in the season when harvest wasn't too far away from many producers there, and now their season's cut short by what we call the Great White Combine. So always hate to see it, but it's just one of those things. Going forward, one of the things we certainly don't want to see is any more hailstorms, or certainly not a early season frost. That would just be against everyone's best wishes.
Thank you so much for all the information, Matt, and hopefully we get to see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Being a goaltender in hockey may not be the easiest position to learn, and just like any other sport, you have to put in the time and effort to become better at it. And as Adil Ahmed reports, a hockey development company helps train younger kids on how to perfect their craft while playing between the pipes.
Net Science Goaltending, a hockey development goalie company that has been running for over half a decade now, had camps taking place on Thursday morning at the Service Sports Center. The company trains youth to pro goalies about off and on ice activities like mobility.
So my drill was a post play drill, so that's RVH and VH, which is just two different positions to play on the post, and we teach them both so kids can get used to doing both, right? Let them make their own decision as they're doing it. But the middle station was some puck handling work, so some distribution, some puck passing, that type of thing. And Coach Merrick, our youngest instructor, who's super fast and athletic, was teaching more of that mobility work with butterfly pushes and that type of thing. So.
Goalies like Kale Solston and Riley Kuzniuk have been training with Net Science Goaltending for over 2 years now, and they both feel they can get better as they develop more and more.
Holding my stance longer, or keeping my hands still when we're doing drills. I get your movement down before you get the shots. And like with the passing ones, it just helps you in the game better for when you go to pass to your defense or something like that.
Net Science Goaltending has been operating since 2016, and the biggest takeaway Larry has had from it over the last 7 years is the ability to have an influence on the younger generation.
Other than their parents and maybe their homeroom teacher, we have the ability to give them more confidence than almost anyone else in their lives. And I believe that giving confidence is a major factor in what I do. Maybe someday a portion of my students will be professional hockey players, but all of them are going to be regular, everyday working people. And being able to work hard, being able to push through adversity, and be up for the challenge is something that every person needs to be able to do well.
Net Science Goaltending will have camps going on at the Service Sports Center until August 11th. For Primetime Local Sports, I'm Adil Ahmed.
Registration for the Fight Farm, a local mixed arts fighting gym, is coming up soon. Our Marcus Taylor sat down with owner Garrett Tepper to talk a little bit about the activities that are going on and the positive benefits they have.
I'm joined here today by Garrett Tepper. Garrett, thanks so much for coming on to talk about the Fight Farm. So with registration coming up at the Fight Farm on August 24th, can you just give us a little bit of a background about what type of fighting you guys do and what you offer?
Sure. Okay. Well, we offer multiple disciplines. Okay. Kind of our bread and butter is kickboxing. So it's basically Dutch kickboxing, some Muay Thai, and for all levels. So beginner level right to fighter. We also offer Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some wrestling, and all around conditioning as well. So.
What kind of benefits are there to like your mental and physical health?
Yeah, you know what? It's I mean, the obvious is the physical side of things for for exercise and everything else, but it's a lot more. People assume because it's a mixed martial arts gym, it's a combative sports gym. People automatically assume, oh, it's about fighting, and that's probably our least component. Sure, we have pro and amateur fighters, but the largest portion here is for kids and adults, youth, to do it for fun, fitness. Not just self-defense, but confidence. Self-confidence is huge, right? We hope that this kind of stuff. It's never about, like I said, it's never about fighting. It's always about having confidence and stuff to diffuse something like that. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is for mental health, right? For self-confidence.
So you did say that you offer classes to like all ages, but is there an age limit?
Well, we have a martial tots program, which is 3 and 4 year olds, and then the next age group is 5 to 8. Then we do a 9 to 12, then a 12 to 16, and then it's adult class. So we have kids in here that are 3, and we have some more experienced people at the age of about 55, close to 60, I think. So yeah, all ages.
So what does the schedule kind of look like for the Fight Farm? What time do things take place?
We do have a schedule. We run sporadically through the day. Now that fall's coming, it'll be classes. Basically, we'll run Monday to Friday. Most of like the children, the youth class, and everything else run from about 5 o'clock till 9 at night, and then the adult classes are put in there as well through the week. So, and we do morning classes too. We do have a mom's class, we call it. So women are, encouraged to bring their children. You don't need childcare and stuff like that. The kids run around the gym and stuff like that. And because they're all moms in that class, if you're working out and a child looks like, he's getting into mischief or whatever, you have all these surrogate moms saying, hey, no, be careful, don't do it. So yeah, it's pretty neat how that works too.
And where's the Fife Farm located?
We're 6206 50th Avenue. So we're in the industrial park, a little bit out of the way, sorry. But if you're headed north into the industrial park, we're right there. You can see us. We have highway frontage. We're in just off that service road that runs adjacent to Highway 17. So
If someone wanted to get introduced to the Fife Farm or start getting involved, what would you like to say to them?
yeah, absolutely. Don't let the name of it intimidate you. That was the one thing. Looking back, if I could have ever maybe made changes to the way the Fife Farm, progressed and everything else, maybe I would have picked a bit of a softer name for some parents, fighting. And again, that's the least component what we do here. The name derived from, we actually were training and I only had fighters. This goes back 12 years ago. I only did have fighters and we were on a farm. So that's where the name came from. But that's, like I said, a smaller portion. That's maybe 20% of our students here actually compete. So for everything else, fun, fitness, self-defense, self-confidence.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Garrett, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it again.
Perfect. Thanks.
And now it's time to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has an extended look at your evening weather forecast.
Thanks so much again there, Jace. Yes, now taking another extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of our provinces to kind of see what we are sitting at. And we have warmed up just by a couple degrees on the Alberta side from what we were looking at yesterday, surprisingly, because now most spots are just at that 17 degree mark, while there's 18 in the rest with Cold Lake, Edmonton, and Edson. And over in Jasper, they are seeing the warmest just under that 20 degree mark. So getting slightly closer to that 20 degrees, while yesterday we were slightly cool. Switching now over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking slightly cooler compared to the Alberta side with that 14 degrees with Prince Albert and North Battleford, 15 up in Meadow Lake, matching with us here in the border city. And meanwhile, over in Melfort and Saskatoon, they just are a couple degrees warmer at 16. But now going over to our northern zone, they are slightly looking the same as what they were looking at yesterday for sure with those temperatures. Buffalo Narrows, La Loche, Uranium City, and Stony Rapids all are quite warm at 18 degrees. Meanwhile, Wollaston Lake is probably the warmest, just a degree warmer. The rest are slightly cooled down with 14 in the rest. So they are looking kind of the same as what they were seeing yesterday, as we are just under that 20 degree point. Going over to our Alberta side once again for our northern zone, they are looking slightly warmer compared with most spots just past that 20 degree mark. 21 down in Grand Prairie, while it's 22 in both Peace River and Fort Chipewyan. High level is the warmest with 24 degrees, and Slave Lake and Fort McMurray slightly cooler with that 18-19 mark. Going over to our southern zone now, they have definitely dropped down from what they have been seeing. You have been past that 30 degree mark in most spots over in the southern zone, especially over on our Saskatchewan side. Over on our Alberta side, they were getting closer to that 30 degree mark, but just slightly under it. 21-22 for Lethbridge and Medicine Hat now, while it is 14 up in Coronation. So Coronation looking a lot more cool down, and Banff and Calgary just a few degrees warmer. And switching out back to our Saskatchewan side, as I was saying, they were even seeing past that 30 degrees in most spots yesterday. Dramatically have dropped for today. So pretty crazy seeing how much they can switch up in those temperatures instead of seeing that heat warning anymore. Now they are just cooled down like the rest of us. 21 for Moose Jaw and Regina, while there's 23-24, slightly warmer for Yorkton and Estevan, and Swift Current and Kindersley are the coolest with that 19 and 13 even in Kindersley. But now going back across the region and looking at what we will expect throughout our evening and throughout the night tonight into our weekend, we are starting off a lot cooler for evening here. Most spots will be seeing that single digit for their evening low. As you can see, most will be expecting that low of 8. Paradise Hill and Myrna will be expecting a low of 7, while Unity, Wainwright, and Provost will be expecting a low of 5 to 6. So definitely are cooling down for this evening, getting into the weekend. And Isla Cross will be the warmest with a low of 11. But we will be seeing some clear conditions for most spots across the region, so that's nice to see. Won't be really expecting too much of that precipitation. And looking at our 3-day forecast for here in the border city, as I was saying, we'll be warming up for our weekend just in time with 21 tomorrow and 25 Sunday with a mixture of some sun and cloud both days. Seeing a little bit more sun throughout those days, hopefully. And then heading into next week, we'll be starting off a little bit warmer there with Monday, starting off the week at that 24 with a lot more sun. So don't worry, we're seeing some beautiful days coming up here in the border city. And ending off with another photo submission. Thank you to everyone that submitted some gorgeous shots to our Facebook page. You can do them next week. I will use them on my weather segments. Love this one of Jumbo Lake. Absolutely gorgeous. Nice shot. So thank you once again to everyone that have submitted. That's all I have for now. RJ Mack with the Hammer News coming up after the break.
Thank you so much for being here, Holly Darwa, to talk about the current exhibit.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Can you talk a bit more about what the adornment exhibit is all about?
So adornment is kind of a celebration of a good part of our clothing collection here at the Lloyd Museum and Archives. So everything that you see in it is from our own collection and brought to you by donors here in Lloydminster over the years. And it's kind of an exploration of what clothing means to us. So at its most basic, clothing provides a way to protect us from the elements. That's why we all wear clothes. But beyond that, clothing also is a communicative device. So it communicates to others what we value, our status, whether it's perceived or real or aspiring. And clothing is also a way that we partake sometimes in trends and that kind of thing. And trends can come from external forces like celebrities. In history, they've also come from social movements and political movements, or like times of war when certain materials have been scarcer. So there's all different things that kind of play into what we wear, and it's kind of an exploration of that.
Clothes that are currently in the exhibit, how do you think that they tell the story of the people they once belonged to?
They tell the stories of people's sizes for sure. So there's dresses that are bigger, there's dresses that are so small, but made for adults that we had trouble getting them on the mannequins. There are dresses that are actually not from Lloydminster whatsoever. They're from Boston or Newfoundland and express this kind of idea of people that have come here from away. So people that have moved to Lloyd, which is still something that happens to this day. We get a lot of people immigrating from other countries or other parts of Canada for jobs. So there's that aspect brought into there. There's aspects of what was popular or trendy at the time. So you can kind of see the progression of, we've got a white wedding dress from the 30s, but we've also got a pink wedding dress and a brown wedding dress from the late 19th century. So things that aren't as standard today. And we talk about how that's progressed away from colors and why that change happened. We've got some wool clothes and some wool or some fur coats. So the functions of winter and why that's changed away to more kind of synthetic materials and a little different fashionably perhaps compared to what your grandma or great grandma may have worn than what you wear in the winter. So it's all kind of different aspects of how we get around and how we dress.
So what is the earliest dated piece that is in this exhibit?
The earliest piece is a dress from, it's dated to about the 1860s, and it's from Newfoundland. And it's kind of interesting because it shows that the wearer, the maker, may not have had great access to materials. It's made up about 5 different materials inside. So the outside looks like it's all the same material. But when you start lifting up the skirt and looking at the hems and the cuffs, you'll see that it's kind of scrabbled together from a couple of different pieces. So it's really neat. And I think it's from the 1860s.
How much research did it take to bring this exhibit to life at the museum?
It took a decent amount of research. It took two of us, I think, a couple months to pull this one together. First, we had to do all the work on our own pieces ourselves, because that hadn't been done. That was kind of in our backlog. So we got through all of our collections, our costume collections ourselves. And then we had to do the research on external forces that play a role in how we dress and that sort of thing. So it took a couple months for us to bring this one together. It was originally meant to go on display in the pre-pandemic time, and it's been put on hold, and we're quite happy to have it here at our new sites.
Do you have a favorite piece in the exhibit?
I have a very favorite piece. It's maybe not one of the most like spectacular, fancy looking pieces, but I have a very special connection. There's a kind of young girl's Halloween costume in there. It's a little Dutch outfit that I think her mom made for her, and you can tell that it's cobbled together on the inside from like adult pieces. So the vest has been taken in, that kind of thing. You can see those pieces on the inside of the garments, or at least I could when I was doing the work on them. And then you could also tell that mom made some of the rest of the pieces. So I think it's a really sweet little costume.
Thank you so much again for answering all my questions and talking to me about the exhibit.
Thank you, Sarah.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for this week's entertainment panel is the beautiful Abby St. John. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Abby.
Of course, I love being here.
Oh, of course. Why? Who wouldn't love being here?
Exactly.
Here for the entertainment panel every Friday.
Yeah.
It's an honor, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So some of the topics we got going on today, a little bit of disappointment, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty much a lot of people are speaking about this, so you've probably seen many things online. People probably see many things online, seen it, on a lot of news stories right now, even are covering it. But Batgirl has been canceled. Warner Bros. Cancels release of it. Leslie Grace, that plays, the main girl, I feel so bad for her, honestly. And, she's got like Michael Keaton that's in it as well. And it's just crazy to know that this $90 million film is now just scrapped.
Yeah, it is. And they could have easily, because it didn't test well, they're saying that it didn't test well in the initial screenings. Okay. Well, you have such a big opportunity to make, you have all these stars. Yeah, Leslie Grace, she's newer on the scene. She was in the Heights, but this was a big moment for her. But then you also have Michael Keaton, J.K. Simmons, and Brendan Fraser in this film.
Yeah.
If I was Warner Bros., I don't know really how it's working or what this new CEO is thinking, but you give them a little extra money to improve on it and make it better, because it was very highly anticipated. A lot of fans have been so excited, and now they're in an uproar about it. They want it at least on a streaming service. The fact that they're not even doing that, I think it's shocking. A missed opportunity, and they've been doing that a lot. The new CEO, David Zaslav, he's saying that he's still going along with the Flash movie, which I think is ridiculous in itself.
Nuts.
Just because of the fact that Ezra Miller is off the rails. He has multiple accusations of grooming minors, leading a cult, carries guns constantly, always is armed.
So many articles on Ezra Miller, and how is he still continuing
and the fact that they're still going forward with this movie is they're going to see that they're not going to make any money because no one's going to watch. But like you said, I feel so bad for Leslie Grace, because she was fantastic in The Heights. I think she's a fantastic actress. I think she would have really made this character her own and brought it to life on screen. And it's very disappointing that they're not even giving it an opportunity.
It's like they're missing the mark completely. Marvel is just laughing at this point, because with DC, it's like all these, like you said, opportunities that they're missing out on. They're focusing on all the wrong projects in a way that it's like, no one wants this right now. And not only that representation to have on screen with Leslie Grace, there it goes, scrapped off.
Right out the window. And I think that's going to be very detrimental. And chance to see Michael Keaton back as Batman, I mean, what?
That's crazy.
Everyone would just want to see that. If you're not into Batgirl or into the movie itself, just the fact that you get to see Michael Keaton as Batman again, I think
And those little girls wanting to see that representation,
exactly.
that's gone too.
That's gone out the window
just-
because everyone was so excited when she
Yeah.
was cast because it is, like you said, that representation that's been missing.
Yeah, but you know, something else that's coming out a little bit for the DC train is
Yeah.
Joker 2, officially announced. And this was kind of a funny topic and a bit interesting because, you know, it's supposed to be a musical.
Yeah.
Another thing that it's kind of new that a lot of people are speaking about, that Lady Gaga is supposed to be in this.
Yeah.
And supposed to be Harley Quinn.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be, you know, a firm 2024 release. So.
I don't know too much about the plot. I don't think they have released it, but I think it is going to take place in Arkham, which kind of makes sense, adding the musical element because they're both crazy, they're both sociopaths, they're both in an insane asylum, so it could kind of work, but I'm going to go on this and stand by it. They don't need to make a Joker 2.
Yeah.
Joker 1 was perfect on its own. You don't need to add. This is basically a cash grab. And they're doing it because, yes, all right, the first Joker, they got 11 nominations. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor at the Oscars. They received $1 billion in the box office worldwide. It was a hit.
Kind of do what Marvel's doing with having all these maybe like different timelines or different universes and putting it together. It's like, where are we even at?
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, it's like, where are we at when it comes to this Joker and everything? It's completely separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a sympathetic kind of Joker, and it's supposed to be at the beginning, I guess, of Batman's life in a way, from the way the ending was. So it's like, what are we connecting it to? And now they're like, we need to have a second one. It's got to be a musical.
Yeah,
Lady Gaga.
because like, is this going to connect to the Batman? Like Robert
That's what I'm
Pattinson's
saying.
Batman? Is it going to be its own thing? I don't understand.
That's what doesn't make sense.
I don't get what they're trying to do. The whole internet I've seen not supporting it because of the fact that they're not making good decisions. You know, Warner Bros. In general not making great decisions in their casting. You know, they kept Amber Heard for Aquaman 2. They're keeping Ezra Miller for The Flash. It's not great.
Yeah, it's not adding up,
No.
but you know what? I guess we got to talk about it and help get that word out there because I really hope that a lot of people aren't going to be supporting that Flash movie.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting about this Joker too, but so disappointing for Batgirl. I really hope we'll get some good news coming up soon for DC. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today for this week's entertainment panel. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Abby.
Of course, thank you.
A day full of fun for you and your family is waiting for you tomorrow in Clandonald at the Clandonald Country Fair. You can start your day with a delicious pancake breakfast. They start serving up at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and the Prairie Dogs are going to be there too. So some great live music while you enjoy a great breakfast. Then there's so much fun throughout the day. There's a bouncy houses, there's a boxing ring, there's a chance to enjoy some face painting, a watermelon contest, there's going to be bingo, there's a laser chasers, the Joe Show is going to be there, mutton busting, and so much more. And there's a great parade that gets underway at 11:30 tomorrow morning. It's going to be a great day tomorrow out at the Clandonald Country Fair. Coming up tomorrow night is the Paradise Hills Summer Bash. It is always one of the biggest parties of the summer, and it's going to be a huge party tomorrow night. It features the James Barker Band, and they just opened up for Tim McGraw at Big Valley Jamboree. Plus, they've been nominated for a number of Canadian Country Music Association awards, including Entertainer of the Year. So they're going to bring the party. You'll be dancing all night long with the James Barker Band, plus special guests. Nice Horse. You can get tickets online, and while you're getting your tickets for the Paradise Hill Summer Bash, get your ticket as well for the great meal that's beforehand. If you want a ticket for that meal, you can stop by Paradise Hill Ranch and Western Wear to get tickets for that great meal and the big party, the Paradise Hill Summer Bash. Go online to eventbrite.ca. And coming up this Thursday in Vermilion, Vibe is hosting a free activity for youth. You have the opportunity to tie-dye your very own t-shirt. Things are going to get underway at noon at Heritage Park coming up this Thursday. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
And off, we're taking a quick look at your 7-day forecast. Here now, we will be seeing some warmer temperatures for our weekend coming up here in the border city with that mixture of some sun and cloud with 21-25. Seeing a lot more sun starting off next week, and look at those temperatures already warming up for next week, so get ready. We are seeing a beautiful week coming up. 23 next Tuesday, almost seeing 30 degrees next Wednesday. Then we will be seeing that 27 next Thursday with a little bit of chance of precipitation for next Friday.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that, Shelby, and thank you for joining us for our first hour of Primetime Local News. But stick with us, our second hour continues next.